dear friends, Jehovah's Witnesses, and the general public. Here you can see the Watchtower magazine, study edition, dated January 15, 2014, with an article I want to consider with all of you and entitled 100 Years of Kingdom Rule, How Does It Affect You? Let's see what the Watchtower Society has to tell us about this millennial kingdom that began, and also started to be counted the 1,000 years when it was just established in the year 1914. Now let's find out this article with the comments of the Society. Here it is. Let's hear now what the Society has to say.
100 years of kingdom rule. How does it affect you? Theme text. Great and wonderful are your works, Jehovah God, King of eternity. Revelation 15:3. Listen for the answers to these questions. How did Jehovah become king in 1914? And what were some of the kingdom's early accomplishments? How has Jesus used the Messianic kingdom to refine, educate, and organize God's loyal subjects on earth? When will our prayer, "Let your kingdom come," be answered fully, and what will that mean? Are your text for 2014, "Let your kingdom come," Matthew 6:10. Paragraphs 1 and 2. Question. What will God's kingdom accomplish, and why can we be confident that the kingdom will come? On a mountain near Capernaum in the spring of 31 CE, Jesus Christ taught his followers to pray, "Let your kingdom come," Matthew 6:10. Today, many doubt if the kingdom will ever come. However, we are confident that our sincere prayers for God's kingdom to come will be answered. Jehovah will use the kingdom to unify his family in heaven and on earth. That divine purpose will be realized. In fact, Jehovah has already become king in our day. The thrilling events of the past 100 years are proof of this. God is performing great and wonderful works in behalf of millions of loyal subjects. And yet, Jehovah's becoming king is not the same as the coming of God's kingdom for which Jesus taught us to pray. How do these events differ, and how do they affect us? Jehovah's enthroned king goes into action. Paragraph 3. Question A. When was Jesus enthroned as king, and where? Question B. How would you prove that the kingdom was established in 1914?
Thus, the Society is reminding us that already has passed 100 years since the millennial kingdom started in 1914, and yet there are still over 900 years ahead for Jesus Christ to be reigning in God's kingdom. Now, let's check together one important prophecy shown on Revelation 20 verse 6 that reads as follows.
Happy and holy is anyone having part in the first resurrection. Over these the second death has no authority. But they will be priests of God and of the Christ, and will rule as kings with him for the 1,000 years. But they will be priests of God and of the Christ, and will rule as kings with him for the 1,000 years. Rule as kings with him for the 1,000 years.
God's prophecies are to be fulfilled, because God cannot cheat and deceive us in John's prophecy given in Revelation 20 verse 6. Then these anointed class of 144,000 as priests shall reign together with Christ 1,000 years completely, that is, no more, and not less than that exact amount of years, altogether reigning with Christ in God's millennial kingdom.
In the Watchtower magazine dated June 1, 1917, page 331, paragraph 22, the Society told us that the resurrection of the anointed Christians began to occur in 1918 Christian era. And it quotes as follows. The resurrection of the anointed Christians, who number 144,000, is to spirit life in heaven, and it began to occur in 1918 CE, after the establishment of the heavenly kingdom in 1914. So, when Jesus started to reign in his kingdom in 1914, he was alone in heavens, without any of his anointed Christians of the 144,000 class. This because no one of them had been resurrected to be reigning together with Jesus in heavens in 1914. Only starting in 1918 those dead anointed Christians commenced to be resurrected in order to be gathered with Christ in heavens.
In the Watchtower magazine dated February 1, 1999, page 17, paragraph 16, the Society told us that in 1935 there was 52,465 anointed Christians still living on earth that took part of the memorial emblems. This Watchtower magazine quotes as follows. But in 1935 there was a worldwide total of 52,465 publishers, out of a peak of 56,153, who indicated their heavenly hope by partaking of the memorial emblems. This means that there was 52,465 anointed Christians still living on earth that couldn't started to reign together with Jesus Christ in God's kingdom in 1914. These anointed Christians still living in 1935, they had already lost 21 years of the kingdom established in 1914. And they never will be able to complete these 1,000 years ruling with Christ altogether in his millennial reign according to Revelation chapter 20 verse 6, that clearly asserts that these anointed priests of the 144,000 class will reign together with Christ for the 1,000 years. Revelation 20 verse 6 doesn't say that some of these anointed will reign only 979 years, others 900 years, others 861 years, and so on. The Watchtower Society has doctrines that contradicts the Bible and makes impossible that this prophecy mentioned in Revelation 20 verse 6 can be fully accomplished. If Jesus actually started his kingdom in 1914, this means that in 2014 will remain 900 years ahead for God's kingdom. The approximately 8,750 anointed Christians still living today on earth had already lost 100 years of this marvelous kingdom of God established in 1914, if we accept the current teachings of the faithful and discreet slave as the truth. This means that these anointed remnant will never be able to reign the 1,000 years God's kingdom together with Christ according to the Bible prophecy shown in Revelation 20 verse 6. The Bible prophecies are given by God to be fully comply. The only way that Revelation 20 verse 6 prophecy can be accomplished and fulfilled is to reject the current Watchtower false doctrine that asserts that God's kingdom was already established in 1914, and we open our blinded eyes, thinking otherwise and adjusting ourselves to the Bible teachings directly, that God's kingdom will be established only in the future, after the Great Tribulation occurs, when Jesus returns for a second time in the clouds of heavens with great power and glory for judgment according to Matthew 24 verse 30. Therefore, when Jesus returns for a second time with his sign in the clouds, he will gather all his anointed Christians to start or begin the millennial kingdom in order to rule all together, that is, with all his anointed Christians, all 100% completed for the 1,000 years. In this way, dear blinded Jehovah's Witnesses, the prophecy shown in Revelation 20 verse 6 will be satisfactorily fulfilled. No doubt, the Watchtower teaches false doctrines that make it impossible that the Bible prophecies, such as this one shown in Revelation chapter 20 verse 6 can be fulfilled as a true prophecy given by God. Thank you very much for listening me and think deeply about this issue.